The screen went dark, the familiar music of the college football playoff selection show fading into a silence that felt heavier than any roar Notre Dame had heard all season. Marcus Freeman remained standing near the front of the room, surrounded by his players, coaches, and staff, all of them still processing what they had just watched unfold together. For the first time in a long while, the head coach of the Fighting Irish did not immediately have the words ready. There was no clear explanation, no instant reframing, no neatly packaged lesson to pull from the moment. There was only the shared realization that Notre Dame's name had not been called, that their season, so full of belief, work, and sacrifice, had ended not on a field, but in a studio hundreds of miles away. This was not how Freeman had imagined closing the year. It was not how the players had imagined it either. They had gathered with cautious optimism, understanding the uncertainty but trusting that their resume would speak loudly enough. Instead, they were left staring at one another, searching for meaning in a decision that felt abrupt and deeply personal. The cameras, embedded for Peacock's Here Come the Irish, captured everything: the stiff body language, the eyes fixed on the floor, the moments when players leaned back in their chairs as if the weight of the news had physically pushed them there. It was raw, unfiltered, and profoundly human. Freeman has built his reputation on clarity and connection. He is known inside the Goog for his ability to articulate purpose, to translate disappointment into motivation, and to stand in front of his team with conviction even when circumstances are difficult. But this moment tested even that strength. As the final rankings scrolled across the screen, he felt the familiar instinct to step forward and lead, colliding with the reality that there were no easy answers to offer. This wasn't a missed assignment or a blown coverage. This wasn't something that could be corrected on Tuesday's practice tape. This was a verdict rendered elsewhere, and it left him grappling with the same questions his players were silently asking. The second season finale of Here Come the Irish, set to release on January 12th, centers on this very moment, pulling back the curtain on what it looks like when a program built on tradition, expectation, and relentless pursuit of excellence is forced to confront a decision it cannot control. It is a rare glimpse into the emotional core of Notre Dame football, one that strips away the pageantry and focuses instead on the people inside the building. The episode does not rush past the disappointment. It sits with it, allowing the silence to breathe, allowing the weight of the moment to settle. For Freeman, the frustration was layered and complex. He has consistently preached accountability, the idea that outcomes are earned through preparation, discipline, and execution. That message resonates because it empowers players, giving them ownership of their fate. But in this room, on this night, the usual cause and effect logic felt incomplete. The Irish had done what they believed was required. They had navigated adversity, responded to criticism, and grown as a team. And yet the reward they were chasing was suddenly out of reach, not because of a play call or a missed tackle, but because of perception and comparison. The players felt it too. Veterans who had given years to the program sat alongside underclassmen who were just beginning to understand what it means to wear the uniform. Some stared straight ahead, jaws clenched. Others shook their heads slowly, as if replaying the season in their minds, searching for the moment that tipped the scales. In those quiet seconds after the show ended, the locker room felt suspended in time, caught between what had been and what might come next. Freeman eventually spoke, but not with the polished certainty he often brings to the podium. His words, as captured in the finale, reflected honesty more than explanation. He acknowledged the confusion, the frustration, the pain of the moment. He did not pretend to have all the answers, because in truth he didn't. That authenticity, that willingness to share the uncertainty rather than shield his team from it, became a defining aspect of the scene. It was leadership not as performance, but as presence. The power of Here Come the Irish has always been its ability to humanize a program that exists under a constant national microscope. In its second season, the series has followed Notre Dame through wins, losses, practices, and private moments, but nothing encapsulates the emotional stakes of college football quite like this. This wasn't celebration or heartbreak decided by the scoreboard. This was disappointment delivered quietly, clinically, yet felt deeply by every person in the room. For Notre Dame, the fallout extended beyond that night. The decision sparked debate across the sport, fueled conversations among analysts, fans, and administrators, and raised familiar questions about how teams are evaluated and valued. But inside the building, those external arguments mattered less than the internal reckoning. Freeman understood that how he guided his team through this moment would echo into the future. Programs are not defined solely by how they win, but by how they respond when the path forward suddenly changes. As the cameras lingered, viewers could see Freeman scanning the room, making eye contact with players, silently reaffirming the bond they shared. He has often spoken about faith, resilience, and purpose, about trusting that setbacks serve a larger plan, even when that plan isn't immediately visible. In this moment, those beliefs were no longer abstract principles, they were being tested in real time. And while the answers did not come easily, the resolve remained. The finale does not offer closure in the traditional sense. There is no triumphant montage, no last-second redemption. Instead, it offers something more honest, a snapshot of a team at a crossroads, forced to sit with disappointment before deciding how it will shape them. It shows Freeman not as a plausible leader with every solution mapped out, but as a coach navigating uncertainty alongside his players, determined to protect their sense of pride, even when the outcome stings. As January 12th approaches and the episode becomes public, fans will see a side of Notre Dame that is rarely visible. They will see the quiet moments after the cameras usually turn off, the space where emotion replaces analysis. They will see a head coach wrestling with the responsibility of guiding young men through a moment he cannot fully explain, yet refuses to let them define them. In the end, that night was not just about being left out of the college football playoff. It was about belief, about trust, about the fragile line between control and acceptance in a sport that demands everything and promises nothing. Marcus Freeman had few answers immediately after watching the show with his team, and perhaps that was the most honest response of all. Because sometimes the most powerful leadership begins not with certainty, but with the courage to stand in uncertainty together, convinced that what comes next will be shaped by how you respond when the answers are hardest to find.